In this PowerPoint, we're going to talk about the digestive system and the excretory system and see what they do for our bodies. The first body system that we'll look at is the digestive system. The digestive system has three major functions for us. It is responsible for breaking down food into usable glucose molecules. It also provides a place for that glucose to be absorbed or diffused into the bloodstream. And it's also responsible for eliminating solid waste in the form of feces. There are some unique features about the organs that are involved in the digestive system. Some of the organs, food actually travels through. Other organs that are involved, food doesn't travel through, but they provide an important part, a necessary component to it. The major organs that food travels through are the mouth, the esophagus, the small intestines, and the large intestines. Food actually travels through each one of those. Now, the liver, the gallbladder, and the pancreas are all involved in creating digestive enzymes or acids to help break food down. The liver will create bile, and that bile is then stored in the gallbladder. And once food enters into the small intestines, the gallbladder will release that bile, and that helps break down specific foods. The pancreas creates pancreatic juices or pancreatic acids, and it inserts the acids into the small intestines once the food starts traveling there. So even though the liver, gallbladder, and pancreas do not touch food or food doesn't travel through them, it is still a major part of the digestive system. Other information that's worth talking about with regards to the digestive system include mucus. Here we hear mucus again, and remember I told you in the respiratory system that mucus was your friend. We're going to see here that it's also your friend for the digestive system. It's going to be very beneficial to help food move through the digestive tract. And so when we look at the very first place we see it, we find mucus covering the esophagus. The esophagus is that connecting tube between the mouth and the stomach, and food has to travel from the mouth to the stomach. And we know that many times the food that we chew, we don't chew to real small, and so that mucus helps line that esophagus so that it makes the food slide down a lot easier and you don't have the pain. Then once it gets into the stomach, it is going to cover the sides of the stomach, which is a very important tool, not for helping food move around, but to help as an added protection to the walls of the stomach from ulcers. And so that those acids that are in the stomach, it has some very, very strong acids in the stomach. As a matter of fact, it's so strong that it could burn a hole in the carpet. The acids in the stomach, if it makes connection with the stomach walls, could like burn a hole through it. And so that's what ulcers are, is when the stomach walls is coming into contact with that acid and is burning a hole in it. Another thing that we need to talk about is digestion and the two different methods that digestion takes place. The first one I want to talk about is mechanical digestion. And mechanical digestion is the actual physical digestion, so it's actually forcibly crunching up the food in some way. And so it's a physical digestion. It's a maneuvering of the food and grinding it to break it down into smaller pieces. The very first place that we see mechanical digestion take place is in the mouth, and we do that with our teeth. Once you get into the stomach and into the small intestines, you have mechanical digestion that takes place, and that mechanical digestion is called peristalsis. And peristalsis is where you have waves of contraction, muscle contraction, that helps to grind and move. So when you hear your stomach grumbling around and that kind of stuff, that's what you're hearing. You're hearing peristalsis happening. And that'll happen through your intestinal tract. That peristalsis also helps to move the food all the way through your intestinal tract. So you constantly are having waves of contraction within the different organs of the intestinal tract to move it. Now, here in this slide, there is a movie that I would have shown you if we were in the classroom, but obviously I don't think you can get to it here, but I will show you how peristalsis works and what it looks like once we come to class. The next form of digestion is chemical digestion, and that chemical digestion is using enzymes and digestive juices, and sometimes they call them acids. Your mouth is the very first place that chemical digestion takes place. So even though you have your teeth undergoing or creating mechanical digestion, you have within your spit and your saliva, you have an enzyme called ptyalin, and that helps to begin the digestion process. Once you get into the stomach, you have another enzyme called pepsin. They also have some hydrochloric acid in there that also helps to break things down. Then when things move down into the small intestines, you have the bile that the liver created and then the pancreatic enzymes that the pancreas created. The place where the most mechanical digestion takes place is the stomach. That's where most of the mechanical digestion takes place. The most chemical digestion takes place in the small intestines. So that's where it's going to be broken down to the molecular level, so the individual levels. I can't wait to talk to you about this and show you this in class. The next body system we're going to talk about is the excretory system. Sometimes it's referred to as the urinary system. It has one major function, and that is to collect cellular waste and remove it from the body. It's responsible for getting rid of the liquid waste from the body. The major organs that are involved in the excretory system include the kidneys, who are responsible for filtering blood, and you have two of those. You have a right one and a left one. It filters the blood and gets all of those waste products out of the bloodstream. The ureter, which is a connecting tube, and you have two of those, one that connects to each kidney that allows the filtered waste to travel from the kidneys down to the urinary bladder. And it's where the urinary bladder is the storage system that allows you to hold all of the cellular waste or the liquid waste until it reaches a certain point, and then you get the urge to go to the bathroom, and that's because it has more water in it than it should, or more liquid in it than it should. And so that's where your urine is going to be stored. And then the urethra is a very small tube that's used to connect the urinary bladder to the outside of the body. So when you go to the bathroom, you're actually seeing that the urine exits the body through the urethra. Now, in the excretory system, we have what I like to call weirdo organs that are included in this system that don't seem to go hand in hand with it. But we know that the function of the excretory system is to get rid of liquid waste. So let's talk about two other ways that we get rid of liquid waste. The very first way is when we exhale, part of the waste products, besides just the carbon dioxide, is the water. So when we get rid of that water, that includes now the lung in the excretory system because they're getting rid of that extra water from cellular respiration. Now, you also have liquid that is removed from the body through the skin. So when you're out there sweating or running around and you get hot and you're trying to cool down, your body is going to excrete water and chemical waste. If you ever lick your skin when you're sweaty, you notice that it's kind of salty tasting. That salty tasting is some chemical waste that's coming out through your body cells, and so that causes your skin to also be included. So now we see that we've got the digestive system and the excretory system that are two major systems involved in the body. The digestive system is primarily responsible for breaking down that food and then getting rid of solid waste. The excretory system is responsible for getting rid of cellular waste in the form of liquids.